Mac, man,
Hello,
you on?
I'm on.
We are in the building.
We're in the building. I want to say thanks to everybody that tuning in. Now it's the second week of our podcast. Think positive and believe. We had a lot going on this week. Just want to thank y'all for tuning back in with us with the news today. I meant to bring it up. I don't know if you got the news today with the coronavirus.
Yeah, what happened?
Trump came out today and said like Georgia is going to be about 3,000 people dying a day from the virus. It's like
Mm.
so a lot didn't change in this past week, especially us down here in Atlanta. They're opening up. People are learning next Monday. What's y'all take?
Man, that's crazy. I didn't hear much about it, but I went out bike riding. Me and Deuce, y'all been on me and Deuce about getting right. So me and Deuce been out there trying to get our 6 pack on. So we went bike riding. Me, him, and little Mel. Man. People out there like it's picnic and stuff. I don't know if they don't know. Well, hey, what they said in Minister Society, they don't know, they don't show, or they don't care. I don't understand it. I don't.
Well, I think a lot of it is just, taking the risk factor. When you have people dying, I mean, it is real. So, by Georgia opening up doesn't mean that everyone is going to take that risk. There's still restaurants and places that haven't opened, and even with banks, there's a lot of drive-through. So you still can enter at your own risk. But I think when you have a country when they say freedom, people think they can just go out and do what they want to do. But this is real. Until we find a vaccine, or we can flatten that curve, I think people still need to be precautious about going out. And what I've been doing is staying in the neighborhood. I go to the gym by myself and with a couple people who I know are who are quarantined, and I just stop there and still kind of stay in. I'm not going to any place that's not essential.
Mike, what
Yeah,
you
now I
think?
kind of been now I kind of been doing the same steps. No, I was kind of on it early. Being in Israel. It hit overseas before it got here, so I kind of got that stuff down. Got my routine, but I just go to the grocery store, go to the gym every once in a while. There's people that I know has definitely self quarantine, and even after they self quarantine, I'm still kind of watching what they're doing because I think with the corona, like, I was thinking about it earlier. Like you can have the test and be good with it, then in 2 weeks you could have it again. So like once you get clear of it, just try to stay. No, best way to stay away from everybody you can. Like I don't think it's going back. No, anytime soon. I know me and you now talk about it all the time. With the AAU, like I don't think see the NBA coming back this year, or people playing basketball. No time soon.
I'm real anxious to see how I see it. And TD, you talk with me and you kind of we vested in the AU world right now. Shelvin kind of is, but me and Tony directly impacted. So I think that if the NBA plays and we have a live period, I think we will have some type of season. But I think if the NBA don't play and we don't have a live period, I don't think it's going to be any season. And if we do, I think in best case scenario, July and August.
Yeah, I think the timing is going to be what people are looking at. Is it long enough? Is the right time? So all of us are trying to get this correct. No one really wants to make the mistake of bringing kids back and exposing them too soon. So you want to make sure when you come back that we take most of the risk factors out of this that we can, because it's so, like I said, it's affecting so many people, and it doesn't, COVID-19 doesn't discriminate. And I think that's where we got to be smart about what we do in our field of AAU, is make sure that we keep it in small groups. I think as coaches, wear masks, possibly have on gloves, and there can't be contact. And as far as the AAU that relies heavily on travel basketball, I just think the travel teams are going to have to stay local. I don't think you need to go out of state. I think there's enough competition here that we can face every weekend. But also, I don't think you want to put your family at risk to travel to different cities that they're not familiar with those people and what they're doing, their daily habits. So it's not to be exposed to what is going on outside of your normal. So we just trying to keep normal people that, but also I think the teams and the coaches got to make good decisions that will put our kids at less risk.
And
Did you
speaking
just
of
say?
that,
Did you just say you want the coaches to coach with a mask on? How's that gonna work?
say it again, Mac. I didn't hear you. Say it again.
I thought Tony said he want the coaches to wear the mask while they coaching on the sideline.
You said that, TD?
Might have to, man. Like I said, this is something that's going to be new for all of us, and I think you got to look at what's going to work for different leagues. And I was watching the China baseball league that started up, and you would see those guys come up to bat, and all those guys had masks on. So why wouldn't a coach have masks on to protect himself and not to spread if there is a virus? I think coaches will have masks on. I think players, just from what is doing with their baseball league is that there's no fans, and from what I saw, the guys that were coming up to bat, those guys had masks on. So we have to learn from other countries and take what they're doing and see how they flatten the curve. And it's okay to be followers. Followers to people who are doing it right is not bad. Sometimes you want to lead the way, but this is not the time to be the leader.
It's funny that you said that. It was either Sawani or Hoop Scene, which is like one of the big players up here in Georgia, sent a survey out today, and they sent it to some coaches. And the coaches sent it to me and asked, "Would you consider playing if we had masks?" Shelvin, you got one of the top AAU teams in the country. Tony, we on the come up with TD Academy. What do y'all think? Would you? What would you say, Shel, if it was up to you? If you was back coaching, semi-retired, Shelvin, excuse me, would you tell them to play with masks, or would you say if we got to play with masks, it's too much?
I would say you gotta play with a mask, as it means it's not safe. Like, it's just like a lot. If you have to do it, I just don't think it's that safe to be able to play because there's a whole bunch of like kids coming together. You rubbing, sweating, talking on defense. There's a whole bunch of stuff that could just happen. Like, and I just don't think the mask will do anything. And it's like if you have to do that, you should just try to figure out another way to do something.
What you say, TD? What would you do?
You know what? And I've been thinking about this as far as like, us probably practicing next month is, how are we going to do this? How are we going to practice the 6 to 8 feet distance from one player to another? And you definitely have to take contact out of the game because like what Shell is talking about is, you're going to have contact, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be breathing on one another. But we also want to have the infrared thermometer so we can check temperatures and, put these parents at less risk to worry about, we don't want to expose their kids to anything that another kid might have or an adult might have. And as we walk into grocery stores, banks, we don't know, what's going on in these grocery stores. People are breathing. Everyone doesn't have a mask on, and we don't know what exposure. We don't know what we're being exposed to because right now, like I said, this COVID-19 is new to everyone, and that's one of the reasons why the scientists and the doctors, everyone, they're trying to get this right. And and we're seeing deaths every day. So that means, we don't know if these people have been practicing the right procedures in order to not catch COVID-19. So it's a mystery and there's a lot going on. But what I do know is it's real.
All right. Since none of us got our science degree, and some of us don't even got a degree, I don't know who did what. So let's move on to something a little more lighthearted, and we'll be taking questions from anybody online. We're watching Facebook and YouTube. Type in your questions if you have them online. But something that we know about is recruiting and crazy dads. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Go. You got it.
Recruiting and crazy parents. Y'all new to that. TD, you're a little new and not new. How y'all handle it? How y'all deal with the crazy dads?
Hey, Stephanie, you could sneak in the picture. What's going on, lady? How you doing? I'm doing well. Nice of you to show us your face and who runs the house. And there's always a better half, and you are that better half. And you'd have had this in much better shape. So I will say.
Oh, okay. You see that, man? That little jail. That little jail. We gonna have to bring up his last shooting contest here, Shell, since he don't throw me in jail.
Bring it up,
Have we
man.
had any shooting contests between two of my favorite basketball players? Yes or no?
Man, Shell won one spot. That's it. He's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be this prolific shooter, and here we are. I'm 46 years old. I've had multiple surgeries, and I still can shoot that thing. You better ask Shell.
You you definitely can shoot that thing, but I won one spot, and that was the only spot that mattered to win the whole thing. Like that's all that mattered.
What
I won. I didn't
are you
lose.
are you satisfied with that, man? Hold on. Hey, listen. You are still playing professional basketball. I am a old retired NBA former overseas player, and it should be, like I said, it should be embarrassing for an old man who doesn't shoot. Mel, hey, tell him, Mel, when I come to the gym, I very seldom shoot the ball. I don't do it. I don't do
Hey,
any
I'll be
drills.
honest. TD come in there, ain't warmed up, do rag on, sweatpants, tennis shoes, church socks. That boy, bad boy. But we did have a shooting contest. That's all I'm gonna say. We did have one, and I'm not gonna say what happened. Y'all already spoke
But
of.
but back to your question about recruiting. I think recruiting is so different now than it was, especially 20 years ago when 25 years ago. And I think parents are more involved now. Not to say that the parents wasn't, but I just think with all the exposure that these kids have access to, I think you have to be in a position where you can kind of, help your kids out. Although it gives them a platform, you don't want them to be overexposed, because if you overexpose, that means as a recruiting coach, and I've been out there as an assistant coach, I don't want to see your kid on every weekend playing, like, because at some point in time I'm seeing him too much, and now I want to start picking at his game. So what I would tell a parent is, you want to get your kid some exposure, but also you don't need to play in every tournament every weekend. You want to make sure that you're working on the individual skill set. You're working on shooting. You're learning the game by watching videos. You're understanding what it takes to be a good player. But if I'm playing 5 games every weekend and then I'm looking forward to the next weekend playing games, you're not seeing any improvement. So I'm all about developing my kids in my program, and then I want to put a finished product on the court so the coaches can be satisfied, the parents will be happy, and as my program evolves and grows, I'm going to have really good kids that understand the fundamentals of the game, but they know how to play the game the right way.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna probably get me fired if anybody was cutting a check, but ain't nobody cutting my check because I can always say what I want. I'm not with all these AAU games, playing 50 games in the summer. That's one of the reasons I retired from AAU a couple of seasons ago. It's just too much. It is ridiculous for kids to be playing 7 games in a weekend. I told the coaches I was with, I told everybody around, like, I'm not playing 7 games. For what? If I'm 12 years old playing 7 games in 7 days, and most of the time in 4 days, your kids can get burnt out. And when I started doing the studies and research, it's showing when Zion Williamson, when the top draft picks got to the NBA, their bodies were like 60-year-old men. They couldn't do some things. And I think everybody's in agreement on this call. Shell, I know you're new to it, and I'm spoiled. Like, I have a
Yeah,
whole lot of other things going on, so I can say that. Some people don't
yeah,
have
but
nothing
no,
else going on with basketball.
but it's a fine line, like what Tony said. No, happen with like I say happened with me, kind of like in college with the recruiting part. Like the longer you stay and play, the more it can go against you. They start seeing all your negative stuff. So the more you kid every weekend, it's like you ever get like the like the saying, you get a beautiful girl and a long later I don't like her toes, I don't like her hair. It's just stuff you just start not liking. And that happens a lot of time with basketball. And then also like kids get burnt out. Like, people love playing it, but like kids start playing AAU at 8, and they're gonna go to their 18. That's 10 years of playing this nonstop basketball all the time. It's very difficult. And then like you said, like Zion, that's a lot of young players that come in the league have that 1 year off from getting college or whatever to the pro because they hurt all the time. It's like you got to protect your body and all those games and stuff. Especially you're not getting the best food. You might be in a country town eating Wendy's, McDonald's, standing there all day. It's just a lot. And then one thing I also broke it down, like parents that also go to all these games. You spend all that time you spend doing all that stuff. You could just bought the scholarship if you add it up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's expensive to do it too. AAU is a very expensive, and all of that is like this.
I agree with you, Mac. And one of my mentors in basketball, I probably never told y'all about, but y'all might know him, is Coach Tony Branch. Tony Branch was on The Secret Millionaire with him and his mentor, James Melanchek. But he took me to a side about 2 years ago and said, make sure you invest properly in your son, the health part of it that you all talking about, the nutrition part, and the mental part. Because we don't know. Some of these kids are stressed out at 12 trying to make Mel Clemmons, Tony Delk, Shelvin, Mack happy. It's no reason that 11-year-old little Johnny, little Tyrone should be stressed out of a weekend playing a basketball game that we all played and loved.
Well, also, I think when you have, you as a parent, you have to make an executive decision for your kid's future. And some of that is not allowing what other kids are doing, what the parents are talking about to persuade your kid. Because if I'm looking at a kid in the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, I'm looking at a kid that's talented, probably better, might be stronger, taller than his peers. But I really like to look at kids when they get to the 9th and 10th grade. Like, that's when it matters. Like, how do you understand the game? And I think as a parent, you don't want to put a lot of pressure on your son or your daughter. I think it's enough pressure with social media right now and what's going on in society that it keeps your kids' minds occupied. And having parents, that were from the old school was that I can remember walking into my house and my mom and dad never talked about basketball. Yeah, they didn't go to a lot of my games because my parents were older and they kind of fell out of place. But there was never any pressure when I walked in the house. We never discussed if I scored 30 points, I scored 10 points. There was never a discussion there. So I think as a parent, we got to make an executive decision to help our kids out and ease some of the burden on them as far as trying to satisfy us. And I think every kid want to satisfy mom and dad, but at the end of the day, they got to be satisfied with who they are. They got to try to be the best individual that they can be in their God-gifted talent.
I agree.
Yeah,
But you also know. Go ahead, man.
Now, I definitely agree. I think the thing is like AAU's kind of the way is going is kind of difficult because everyone's always chasing something. And like sometimes you're just not on that level, and it's okay to be that. So like when I was playing AAU, like my AAU team wasn't like on a major circuit, and at first it wasn't, and I wanted to be on that circuit to have all the coaches look at me. So I'm paying and not paying. I'm flying around doing a whole bunch of extra stuff, putting the wear and tear on my body to get this opportunity. But I was a Butler player. I wasn't going to UK or Duke or nothing. So like I had to realize that for myself and just become great at that.
I agree. LeRon Johnson, a formerly TD Academy coach for about 3 weeks. I don't know what happened, TD, but he just said use travel basketball as a tool to work on your confidence and skills. I agree. It is a time and place. But the bad thing about it, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm a top kid, say I'm a top 20 kid, and a lot of people won't admit this stuff. If I'm a top 20 kid, even a top 100 kid, or a top 50 kid in my state, and I say I'm taking the summer off, I promise you it's going to be some negative repercussions. He's soft. He's hiding from competition. He don't want to compete. He think he's better than them. What y'all think about that? Do you think it happens, or do you think I'm misreading the tea leaves?
I think it happens, but also, you got to be, you got to judge where you at and who you are. And I think like Shell was talking about was even as I started playing AAU, I had no stars. I got a late start and no one knew who I was. But the great thing about it was having older siblings that taught me how to play basketball, and I learned so much from them. So whether I was on the circuit or not, I was still being taught the game at a high level. And just having brothers, Leslie, Ricky, and David, all my brothers understood how to play the game. So I took something from each of my brothers and implemented that into my game. And I think that's what really helped me excel against my peers was that I was being taught on a collegiate level. So as you think about where kids are at right now and not getting the exposure that they feel like they need is in time, platforms we have, you should be able, somebody's going to find you. Because if they came to my little small town, Brownsville, Tennessee, with like 7,000 people, back 20, 30 years ago is that you can be found, but you have to put in the work and the time. And there's so many different platforms where these kids can put out highlight tapes where back in the day, we couldn't do that. You had to go to the top AAU tournament, or you had to be a McDonald's All-American at some point in time to have that 5-star exposure. But there's so many good players out there, and the way the game has evolved, I mean, I'm excited about having guys that can play 1 through 5.
Nate, if you good, they're gonna find you. You watch the draft whenever they're gonna have the draft. You're gonna see a lot of people from overseas, places you never heard of, that they're really good, and they found them. It's people's job to go out and go to a town. So your skills speak for itself. It might take a little longer, but at the end of the day, the cream always rises to the top.
So what y'all think a good balance is? You all have seen me. I don't think I am a good test to use. I think because who I am and my opportunities make some of my decisions skewed. But what y'all think the good balance is? Because both of y'all got kids. Shell, you got a young son. And it's hard, man. It's hard not to be proud of your kids, not to post them, not to tell everybody. Shell got on to me one time like, Mel, let somebody else talk. When they in the room, sit down, shut up.
Yeah. I think that's important because at the end of the day, we all think our kids are great. Like, and I said this before. Every mom think their child is beautiful, and there's not one mom out there that won't say my baby is pretty. And we know there's some babies out there that don't look cute. But I think when you think about talent is so important, and I think being a dad, sometimes you got to step out of the way. Sometimes you got to let your son play or daughter play. And then on that car ride home, just be speechless sometimes. It's okay not to say anything. And we tell our kids not to talk all the time. Just listen. And sometimes you should want them to listen and not listen to what you have to say. But sometimes silence is not a bad thing as a parent, because, we put too much pressure on them to do well. And when you put that kind of pressure on them, kids feel it, and I think kids, this generation, the millennials, are a lot different than how we were years ago. And just being tough skinned, these kids are not like that. They're a little bit more sensitive, and we have to talk to them a lot differently than our parents did to us. And it's okay. It's adapting to this generation of kids. But even with my daughters, I mean, I never at any point in time, you could talk to all three, and we never discussed them ever playing basketball. It was going to be their choice.
Mack, is it break time?
Yeah. We can go into a break. We definitely got to talk about two of the greatest players ever. Once we come back from break, we're gonna go to commercial right now.
Audio Jungle.
talent is just God giving you a kickstart. That's all it is. That's the way I look at it. The talent give you a start over someone else, but at a certain point, that talent is gonna do anything if you don't put the work ethic and change that and then your attitude and all that into it. So once someone can have both of those things together, now you create something like LeBron, or no, LeBron's just a freak talent, no athleticism and all that. I wouldn't say Kawhi Leonard is not as talented or as athletic as him, but he puts the hard work in. It's a lot of things that go together with that. But talent is always just a head start, a gift the God gave you, because the hard work you have nothing.
And to Shell point, I think you have to have both. You have to have talent, especially to make it to the highest level. A lot of kids and men or women, I mean, you can work hard, but that don't mean, to me, I think everybody works hard in their own body. Can you outwork the next person? Are you willing to sacrifice and spend more time working on your craft? How much do you love your craft? Are you willing to get there early, stay late? There's a lot of things that go behind talent. I've seen talent come and go. I've seen talent that work extremely hard, and then there's other talent that's just better than you. And can you accept? We talked about this in our last podcast. Is when someone is better than you and play the same position, you might have to be a backup. But as we know, backup make a lot of money. A backup is still waiting for opportunity to get back to that starting role. But at some point in time, your talent. You have to overcome the hard work part. Is that hard work, and then you got to be blessed with some talent. But to put the two together can be a dangerous combo. And I think that's where people are at right now, is that they look at the potential part of someone with talent, but they don't work hard.
Let me put my boy on the spot. We had an argument. He said that some players, no matter how hard they work, LeBron got something that other people don't have, and they ain't gonna catch him. I teach in my foundation and in my belief that you can do whatever you want to do. You can accomplish. I believe if I work hard enough, I can surpass LeBron. My boy says no matter what, some people do not have the skill set, the gift, or the talents, or that opportunity. So either one of y'all can speak on that.
I think you got to look at the talent that Michael Jordan had when he came into the league until when he retired. Is that he prevented Hall of Fame Ewing, Charles Barkley. We can go down the list of guys: Karl Malone, John Stockton, Gary Payton. Before he got one with Miami Heat, Sean Kemp. He prevented a lot of players from winning championships. So he has something that no one else had at that time, and it wasn't about he had a great team around. They played great defense. They had a great coach. He was in position because of his talent, and when he stepped on the floor, he knew every night that people come to see him play, and he performed at a high level. So when you go watch LeBron, and especially as a former player, when I look at his body, he has a God-gifted body. Same thing with Michael Jordan. Just the airness. Can probably stay in the air 2 or 3 more seconds than the average guy. When you jump, he's still elevating and you're going down. So that's a special gift that God blessed a person like him and LeBron with. And that's something you can't get. You can't buy that. At the end of the day, you can tell kids, oh, yeah, you're going to – no. I have to be honest with kids. You're not going to get that. You know what I'm saying? But you can be really good, as I said earlier, you can be really good and great in your body. But what LeBron has, the 6'8", the 250, 260 – being able to take off outside the foul line. I mean, he has a gift that only so many players we've seen, in my time that have been that dominant, for that amount of years and have sustained it.
That's what makes him the second best player or third best player in history. And I'm proud of LeBron.
Here's my question to both you guys, you and Shell. We talk about the top 5 or the top 3 players. Let's think about the top 3 players in our era, in our time. Who would be on your list, top 3, Shell, and who would be on your list, Mel, as top 3 players who have ever played the game? And it can go in any order, but just give me 3 of your top players that you've seen, in your time on this earth.
Let me go first, Mack. Let you think, since we put you on the spot.
Now,
I'm starting from 3 to 1.
I said, mine's quick. I've been living 30 years. I know mine's real easy by their era.
Hold on before he go. Show the clip. Mr. Allen, before he gives us his list. I'm gonna give him to really think. I don't want him to say nothing to make him look silly. Go ahead and show the clip from The Last Dance.
The truth of the matter is, I mean, he's helped me out a great deal. I asked him for advice. He'd give me advice straight from his heart.
I've always been, like a big brother and you like a little brother.
Vintage Kobe, vintage Michael Jordan.
Turnaround fadeaway jumper. Good.
That relationship has meant everything to me. When I grew up watching Michael play, my generation saw the highlights and they saw a lot of the fancy stuff. What I saw was his footwork. I saw the spacing, I saw the timing, I saw the fundamentals of the game.
He certainly has a lot of skills, and you see that, and he's got a lot of confidence.
You got the teacher versus the student.
He asked me one question when we went down to half court.
Was he willing to give you any advice or give you any secrets?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
He did.
He wanted to know how, when I turn around on my jump shot, how to feel the defense. I told him you should feel the defense with your legs.
Kobe Bryant is guarded by Michael Jordan, and the fall away by Kobe Bryant. That's the future, and even Michael Jordan will tell you that.
You came down and did a Michael move on Michael.
It was a lot of fun. If I was in my prime, who would I want to play one-on-one? That list is very long. I don't think I lose, other than Kobe Bryant, because he steals all of them.
The most important element, they both have their killers. They are just relentless, confident, unbelievably well-conditioned game closers.
Here's Jordan. Yes! Final seconds. Bryant for the win.
I appreciate the comparisons. It's a great honor.
Don't be in a rush to try to find the next Michael Jordan. First of all, you didn't find me. I just happened to come along. You won't have to find that next person. It's going to happen.
All right, go ahead with your list, Mr. Mack.
I ain't gonna give you any
starting
order.
3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3?
I ain't gonna give you no order. No order. But I got Kobe, Jordan, LeBron.
All right. I'm going to go in order. The greatest person, number 1 is Willie Gallagher. Number 2 is Chuck Boyd. And number 3 is, these are all girls from my hometown. Really? Chuck? And Jermaine Copeland. That's probably the only one y'all recognize is Copeland. All right. Y'all know I'm a big Iverson fan, man. So for me to go to 3, I can't look stupid. So
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Look stupid. So Michael Jordan is by far the biggest killer I've ever been seen. The biggest killer that I ever met in person is TD. The smartest point guard ever been around is Mack. I'm for real. Y'all don't understand the basketball minds that I had the pleasure of listening to and learning. It's not by faith, luck. God gave me the opportunity, and I'm smart enough to take advantage of it, to learn so much from them guys. Shelvin teaches me about how to read a point guard position when we sitting in a cafeteria. We can be watching a gym. He can show me in 3 moves if somebody is going to be a pro or not. Tony sits to talk to me about the attitude and the killer instinct and the work ethic and the stomp on your throat. If Tony was about 5 years younger, he'd take Shelvin out right now and play his ass. I know he would.
You know he would.
I know he would.
You want to shut it down, get out of shape. You're gonna catch me one day slipping. Let's wait in the door. It ain't gonna happen.
Them days behind me, man. When you've had 2 knee surgeries, and especially with the ruptured patella, man, that took me out for about 18 months. So I don't want to relive the rehab process. But speaking on the question that I asked you guys, and my 3 players, I know Mel, we got to get back to you. Mel, give us a real list, man. Stop playing around. What's the real list?
I said MJ to me, and I'm not a Michael Jordan fan. I love his game, but MJ is a go to me, number 1. And to me, I like killers. Kobe is my number 2 because he's a killer. I don't care how much talent, how much skill. If you ain't a killer, but so far you gonna go. It's a different. I do the same thing in business. It's a different mentality. So that's my number 2. And number 3, I mean, we've seen generational stuff with LeBron. I mean, he's 9 finals. I mean, we ain't never experienced it. He's gonna break every record we done dreamed about.
Well, you know what? Okay, so you and Shell gave y'all top three, but I mean to leave Kareem off the list, I mean, we
Now
got to be
I wasn't.
basketball historians. I mean, I
Now
can't.
I wasn't
I
listening.
saw Kareem late. I saw Kareem late in this year, Shell. But the one thing when you look back in history at one of the most unstoppable shots, and this dude played 4 years of college basketball. He was player of the year 3 of those years. And when I tell you somebody that he won 6 championships, the Lakers traded the whole team to get this guy. That's how great he was. He was great on every level, high school, college, NBA. He won on every level. So when we think about a GOAT, are we just talking about just of the NBA? Are we talking about all around? And Kareem is all around GOAT on every level that we're talking about, and even when I look at Michael Jordan being one of the greatest, and if Michael Jordan is the greatest, you have to have Kobe right there because it's A+ and A-. And,
Right.
I look at the fourth, I mean, LeBron is great. I mean, but LeBron is playing in a different era. And I don't want to hold it against him, but Kareem played in a different era. Michael played in a different era. Kobe kind of played in both eras, and he was going out in the LeBron era. But I still have to put Kareem at the top of that list. We got to look at his points, how he dominated on the NBA level. Go ahead, Shel.
Yeah. Now I definitely say Kareem is up there. Like he got the most skills out of everybody. For someone to consistently knock down that hook shot, you gotta have some touch.
Yeah.
Like you can't go in there right now and that shot gonna be hard. But for him to have
It's never been duplicated.
Yeah, like that's so hard to do. That's nothing but skills. Like I can't do it right now.
No, I mean, hey, just think about this, Mel. Sometimes I see kids struggle to shoot a floater. Can you imagine being able to shoot that hook from either corner? And from what I heard, he could shoot it with either hand. So he had a God-gifted talent that we've never seen before. And even for the kids who don't know, that there was a few years in college, he was so dominant, they outlawed dunking. So that lets you know he only lost 2 collegiate games. 88-2 is his collegiate career. And some of the things he did, I mean, we will never see again. And he dominated where you would see 30 and 20 on a nightly basis. And I know Will played probably against guys 6'8", 6'9", but some of the numbers that Will put up, I mean, we would never see those records be broken again. So once again, records are meant to be broken. But when you look at the most talented players and who got the most out of their talent, I mean, I think that would be a question, maybe on another podcast that we can answer and address. But we can't leave Kareem out of that conversation. Even if he got to be honorable mention, he has to be mentioned.
I think MJ might have been the best leader. I think MJ might have been the best leader. LeBron Johnson online just said everybody on Michael's team learned to do their role. I mean, Michael Jordan had them jokers in line from Scottie Pippen to Horace Grant, and Horace got a little out of line. I didn't see the second episode, but everybody knew their role on Michael. And I know G a good dude, so I don't know what happened. I can't wait to see it. But Michael had everybody in line. LeBron is trying to, but I don't think he had it clicking like Michael did. That's why Michael didn't lose.
Yeah, I had somebody watching. They asked me, so what about Shaq or Will Chamberlain? Like, what do y'all think about that? I said no, because they not the best centers. Kareem Abdul the best center.
I think Shaq. I think Shaq because he was dominant, but once again, a player that won championship, and he was the best player in the world, and he probably should have 2 or 3 MVPs, at his house as well on his mantle. But I think Will played at a different time where he didn't really have to go against, the force that was down that was down low. And I think also with Shaq, he just didn't have the outside touch, but was a dominant player. Shaq is a player that he could take over game just from his pure strength and his power. So probably one of the most dominant, most powerful players that we ever saw. I think with Will played in a time where he didn't really have players that were his height and his length. But, we can't take that away from Will because, honestly, it hurt players because he took so much abuse from college to the NBA is that when there was an opportunity for him to punish you, that's exactly what he did.
No, definitely. So speaking of, we was talking about this watching The Last Dance. So you got the '92 Dream Team, or is it the 2018? Is that the one they confirmed to?
16 or
Right?
12. It got to be
Now
16 or
it might
12
be.
because Kobe was on both.
Yeah, 2012. Now,
It's gotta
2012
be
team.
his second year, all right?
Who?
I
I'm
think
about
it's
to. I'm
the
about to look.
second
It was
Kobe
12.
team.
It had to be 12. It was 12 because it was
Yeah,
a
it's
12
12.
year
It's
because it was 8 or 12, one of those 2 years, because Kobe played on both of those teams. But I think when LeBron was D Wade and Carmelo, all those guys were in their prime. I mean, it would have been a very interesting game. I just think when I looked at that '92 Dream Team, they just had with David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, they just had some length and some guys that they protected the basket. None of those guys we're talking about and the centers that they had on those teams protected the basket like David Robinson and Patrick Ewing. Like this, like you couldn't get to the back line. Like they
They
protected
had
back line.
they
And
had the white.
had
They had the White Howard. They had prime the White.
Shell, stop it, man. Stop it. The White House, stop that. Listen, and also they
The
had
White
great
Howard.
perimeter defenders. No, not even close.
The White Howard's
No.
going to the Hall of Fame.
He might go into the Hall of Fame, but he will never be compared to Patrick Ewing and definitely not Akeem Olajuwon, but David Robinson. Like those guys really, and they could score. They could score that ball. And like I
I know.
said, David Robinson was a 2 or 3 time
They
two-time
was for
champion.
scoring. I know they was. Yeah, they was for scoring. But you said you brought up the point about defense. I'm like they had what's name for the defense. They weren't throwing the White. They weren't throwing the White the ball bucket with Kobe, Melo, LeBron out there. They didn't block some shots.
Yeah.
Tell me this, CD. Where were you when Allen Houston didn't beat Michael? You remember that when they had the college boys, they beat him that first game? They don't talk about it a lot no more. Don't you remember?
Oh, that was Allen Houston, Penny Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn, Chris Webber. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? I think they took those guys lightly, and they saw them as being young players, and they had to play hard. And you never know, man. Them dudes probably was. The Dream Team probably was out all night. You never know what Michael was playing cards and got up and played golf in the morning. Them dudes probably played cards all night. So when Bobby Hurley and those guys came in the gym, I think Grant Hill might have been on that team. But when they came in, it was more about, man, these are young guys. We're gonna beat them with our talent, but also those guys were just as talented, but not at the not at the level they were at yet because they hadn't gained the experience on that next level. But you still had guys like with Chris Webber, who I played with Sacramento King. Jamal Mashburn was an unstoppable force, 6'8", could put the ball on the floor, could shoot from the outside. And Penny, Penny is probably one of the best high school players. I told Mel he's one of the best high school players I think I've ever seen, from the 6'7", being able to pass, defend, dunk. He was just an unbelievable talent, even as an NBA player before he got injured. So if you look back at that team had some really talented young players that after, I think, the first half or the first day, they came back the next day and they respected them. And it's all about getting respect from your peers and your elders.
I agree. All right, Mack, I'm gonna move on. We're gonna move on from basketball unless you got something else. We got 10 minutes left.
No. We can move on to
I gotta
we'll talk basketball.
Yeah, we'll talk basketball till tomorrow. This is off the cuff. What makes the city of Atlanta so special, in y'all opinion? What makes it so special? What is it about the
You got it, Mack. It's on
ATL?
you, Mack. Start us off.
Yeah, what makes Atlanta so special? Like, none
To
of us
me,
are
what
from
drew me in,
Atlanta, but we all here.
yeah, what drew I'll say the cost of living is one thing, because you get the big city feel, but the cost of living is not as much as I live in D. I played for the Wizards. I got drafted there. Like the cost of living got cut in half. Just being down here in
Hold
Georgia.
on. Coach Johnson said, don't you ever mention the Dwight Howard name like that in basketball again, Shell. If you ever bring him up, they said, in this conversation, they said, don't ever bring Dwight Howard up. And he's from Atlanta, so that's all I'm going to say. Keep going, man. They said you lost some credibility with that one, man. That's all I'm saying.
He did, man. Shell, hey, come on, Shell, stop it, man.
Some people logging off. People logging off, man.
Y'all disrespecting Dwight Howard like he ain't in the Hall of Fame. That's what I'm saying. He had some bad years. or some years like that. You see him right now, killing. But now, Atlanta, the cost of living. Also, just being in a situation where you see people like you and Tony that's out doing something. I think that's very big. In a family, is having people that look like you that you see them doing something successful, and it's not. And the great thing always down here in Atlanta, it's not about sports. Now you still have the music. You have lawyers, you with insurance. People just grind in different ways, and it's great that like I can go out there and I can see someone like myself that's doing that. And that's one thing that like I love about Atlanta. It's like that, and it's diverse.
For me, I think it's opportunities, and to follow up what Shell said is that we see our culture put in a position where they can be successful and have the same opportunities that other people from other states have. And like you said, we have not only athletes, entertainers, doctors, politicians, attorneys, judges. It doesn't. You're not limited here. I think when growing up in a small town, you're limited to the success that you can have based on the job opportunities that are there. And I think, Mel, you can kind of touch on this, coming from a small town, is, the opportunities for our culture is once you graduate from high school, is that positions of power, CEOs, president of companies, those positions are already filled. So how do you get to those positions in, the next 15, 20 years if the person in that position is like 35 or 40? So in a small town, you don't have the opportunities. I think when you come to a city, and even with me having my 3 daughters, is I want them to see people of the same race be successful, and what it takes to be successful, ask questions. But more so than anything, I think it's opportunities, man. I think that's what allows people to be successful is, you have to be in position. You have to know people. And even having a lot of different degrees that some of these people have is when is all said and done, people in order to get into a position of power. And I think being here, most of us being entrepreneurs is, we're qualified to start up our own businesses because of who we know and the amount of work to be put behind it.
I agree. One viewer said we Black Hollywood. I would agree, man. Like I had no intentions, like I said, of coming to Atlanta. My wife's job got transferred here when we were dating. That's how I ended up here. But the thing that I think makes Atlanta so special is it's affordable, like Shell said. And the second thing is you can start a business relatively inexpensive. My first small business here, I opened up y'all probably don't even know this. I had a music store and a barbershop right here in Atlanta. I grew up with one in Tennessee. I had one. But when I got here, I did a music store and a barbershop like it was nothing. With about $1,000, I got a $600 space over on Sandy Plains Road. Then I got into the insurance business. But you're able to network so easily in Atlanta. Like when we here, like even if I didn't know Shell and Tony, you might be going through Lenox Mall and Jermaine Dupri's picking up some shoes. I remember going to sit down in a restaurant called Twist, and Danny Glover was in the table. You have an opportunity and access to so many people. It's not like California, man. Y'all been to California. It's a different vibe in some of those places. Like, you're not going to walk up to Usher in California. Go ahead, Mac. You say something?
No, definitely. Like here in Atlanta, like you said, you can go out and it's friendly. Like you go out, it's not a whole bunch of security with people and all that stuff. No, ain't no. I think the other things like it's no paparazzi around, like TMZ and none of that stuff here, like it is in LA. So I think that's why people are starting to migrate here. They're able to have their own space, and people can show them love. And like you say, you see those guys in the street, whatever you can say hello. It's not a camera that's in their face all the time, and this is something that I think people just love and enjoy. Like I really wanted to the Tyler Perry studio while I was home from overseas this year. I don't know if it's gonna happen with this going on, but like the thing he did here in Atlanta, just like Tony said, is providing opportunities. I don't think you can get that anywhere else in the country.
My brother Tyrone Clemmons says Atlanta is not about who you know, it's about what you know. And what you know can get you paid and opportunities. And you got to look at we were actually leading the world, even in the mess of what they call it, reality TV. Our sisters, reality TV. I mean, we got like 8 shows of black women getting money, acting crazy on TV, and they big time celebrities. I have never seen the phenomenon I've seen in Atlanta. And it's amazing because I'm an entrepreneur by spirit. So I love it. I love to see people coming up like that. But think about that. We got, I don't know how many shows. And since I live out in the burbs where I don't get to see my people enough, I love hood shit, as we call it. I like the ratchetness. I like to watch it on TV. I be laughing. My wife said she ain't gonna never let us get on the show.
The
Well, the
great
thing
thing
is,
about
too,
this
it's
too, though,
about entertainment.
What?
It's about entertainment. Like what society really likes is they like junk TV. You know, they like ratchetness. They like entertainment where it's stuff that people would do at home naturally and is not scripted. You know what I'm saying? Like some of it can't be scripted, but some of the things that we see on some of these reality shows is natural. You know, that's how naturally people, friends act and family act, and it's real. So people can relate to something that's real. When you see a movie, it's a script. But when you start seeing like the Atlanta Housewives, the different shows here, is that it kind of reminds you of your life, you're living, or people you know, and it's like, man, I like that. It's entertaining, and you know, and what makes it real is that now for those women, you know, they have a platform where it's making them money, acting the way they are acting. They have an audience, and that's what you want to do. Even as we create and have these podcasts, we're trying to get an audience to follow us and to kind of listen to what we have to say. And then as we start getting more and more people, hopefully we can someday say, hey, man, we have something that's been successful, and people want to listen to what we have to say. So our job is to try to bring an audience in, and and just be real about it. I think as we have done these podcasts, it just be natural. People like the realness.
I agree.
no, definitely.
When I watch those shows, I have fun watching. What's your favorite reality show that you've seen? Shell don't watch a lot of TV, but Shell, if you had to pick one, what would you pick that you even heard about?
Reality, really don't like
That you heard
what's
about? I know
the
you don't watch it.
yeah, I don't know. I can't give you nothing.
Hey, Tony got about 8 of them. Me and Tony ain't never talked about it, but Tony, I know you've seen some. Which one? Which one is the funniest to
Hey
you?
man, I like the one they do in California with Ray J. Man, I was big on the one out in California. I can't think of the name of it offhand, but since I got the YouTube TV, I haven't been watching it. But I was locked in for about 4 or 5 seasons, man.
Oh
Was it
no.
Hollywood out in LA? It was one of those shows, but it kept me entertained, man, because I kind of I liked the content. The content was entertainable, and at the end of the day, you want to watch something that catches your eye, something that's different. And I'm always going to try to support my people, whether it's good or bad. It's more about watching something that entertains me, and you can always learn. You can always learn what not to do from watching some people.
Did you see? Ray was with us at the Derby. Did you see him when he was with us?
I saw him briefly, man. I saw him, and I forgot to go and take a picture with him.
Ray J helped us what, 2 nights.
You should have told me. He sent me some Ray Cons and all that. You should have told me. I would have set that. I know
Oh, he said, you got the hookup, man. Listen, the only reason I watch the show is because of Ray J, man. Ray J, the only reason why I watch the show is Ray J. If Ray J's not on, I'm not messing with the show.
Hey, TD, you don't know this. So, was it Saturday night we went out? They took us. I stayed with Ray J up in the VIP. We was up in there drinking, having a good time. Cause he a laid back brother. I mean, he is cool, as genuine as he is on TV
real.
and nice. That's how he is.
Yeah.
Now,
I saw him in the airport not too long ago.
Yeah, now he's definitely cool or whatever. But the hour is up. It was great talking to y'all. I'm gonna leave y'all on one thing. With my list that I had, I want y'all to guess who I got number 1. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not Jordan. But when we do the list, I want to appreciate all y'all for watching, spend another hour with us this week. Mother's Day is coming up. Hopefully you're thinking about doing something great for your mom and all of that stuff. Spend some time with the loved ones, especially a situation like this. Everyone needs love. I want to just appreciate y'all for listening to us. We'll be back again next week.
Hold on before we cash out. 3 things. If y'all got any topics that y'all want us to talk about, that y'all think is funny, entertaining, send them to any one of our social media. Send them to us. We'll talk about them next week. I think, Mack, we're going to look at the last game where Kobe gave somebody in this broadcast about 60. How many points did he? Was it that Kobe scored last game?
He gave Shell and Utah Jazz a 60-piece. But I will say this, before people put it out there, he's the only guy that you can have on footage that dunked on me was Kobe. He went baseline and got me when I jumped up in the air, man. He quicked me on the dunk, but that's all right.
We know about it.
We got a producer. He might come on some footage. So next week,
he come with it. What can I do about it? It's not like, I was there firsthand to see it. I witnessed it.
Y'all have a good week. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day. Peace out.
Thanks.
Sam Consulting is a company that helps people buy and sell insurance agencies. When people want to change careers and get into a new industry, they call me to find an insurance agency to buy. When people want to retire and get out of the insurance agency, they call me to help them liquidate their asset or sell. Some people call me a broker. I'm more of an intermediary. I'm kind of like between a buyer and a seller. I make it fair for both parties. The primary reason somebody would leverage Sam Consulting is because we create millionaires. We help people retire from the business and retire wealthy, or we help people get into the business and grow to be wealthy.
The reason I use Sam Consulting is the reputation, professionalism, the expertise, and the amazing job of doing the due diligence is what convinced me to work with Sam Consulting.
Owning an insurance agency is one of the biggest kept secrets. It's generational cash flow coming in every month. This is what I do. I create millionaires by walking them through the process, step by step, on how to own their own business. The best way to reach me is go to samconsulting.com, or you can simply call the office, 678-223-7397.